Beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Gonna film a video today. It's been too long. You guys are starting to leave comments like, what's going on? Where are the videos? Oh man, I'm definitely speeding too. Whoops. I don't know what the workload's like today. We're just gonna go in and we're gonna figure it out. Gotta stay flexible.
Oh, that part's too loud.
That plane has definitely seen better days, huh? Look at this thing. They got a gust lock made out of a bungee strap. Yesterday we did a hot section inspection on one of the engines, and today we're gonna go on a test flight. Test flight, guys. Everybody who is wondering where Vince is going, he's not leaving the company. He just got moved to a different shift. So Vincent got promoted to lead. He's gonna have to move to night shift since that's where the majority of our scheduled maintenance. So anyways, he's starting on Monday as a night shift lead. Proud of you, Vince. Nailed it, bud. Did I mention how beautiful it is today? We've been having all this rain, and finally today it's just clear skies, no wind. Great day for flying. Alright, just got our fuel. Test flight with Rob Herbert.
Oh, here we go.
He's the all-star.
Awesome.
Making his YouTube debut.
My flannel jacket.
Oh yeah, it's Saturday. We're in comfort mode.
Upper transmission November 1547 Zulu. Wind calm, visibility 10, sky clear. Temperature 12, dew point 6, altimeter 2988. Surf 9001, round robin is on request.
Thank you.
Test flight went well. We're gonna go out and run an aircraft that night shift replaced a duct temperature sensor. Having an issue where the air coming out of the vents is really weak. Yeah, right. This is Nelson. He's one of our contractors. It's gonna be Nelson's first time taxiing. He's doing a walk around. Don't crash it, Nelson, or else I'm gonna get fired if you crash. No pressure. It's only 5 million. Basically, the purpose of this engine run, make sure that by changing that duct temp sensor, we have more air flowing out of the vents. Okay, then once your seats adjust, you spin this so that you want to make sure you can push the rudder pedal the whole way. Master power on, nav lights on, lamp test, same thing, look for the lights. Ignition is auto. ELT, armed and guarded. Flap and trim interrupt switches, normal. Release fuel, we have enough fuel for the taxi. Won't use that much. Double check parking brake is set. Yeah. Prop is clear, and we're ready to start. Okay. And what that was to address was how the air coming out of these vents, the air is blowing really lightly, and so we're hoping after changing that the air would blow harder. The other way we could tell that didn't fix the issue, when we turn the ACS to inhibit, so this switch here, we should have a drop in ITT of no greater than 90 degrees Celsius. Usually it'll drop something like 50 to 80 degrees, and you can tell here when I switch the switch, it only changes about 5 degrees. Yeah, so normally that would change like 50 to 90 degrees, so we're still having the same issue. The next thing is probably to change the temp control valve.
Oh, that part's too loud.
Good for his first go. He forgot that you steer with your feet. I just spoke with our director of maintenance about this issue. What he's suggesting is that we slave in a flow control valve from a different aircraft. That's a valve located underneath the floor, and it controls the distribution of air between, it'll adjust how much air is going to the cockpit versus going to the cabin. And so we'll slave in a known working one, and then we'll go out and run the engine again and do the same test of the environmental system and see if we're having the correct indications. I would say it's not as likely to be the flow control valve, but we were doing some troubleshooting on this with Honeywell yesterday, and they suggested that that we start by changing out the flow control valve. So that's what we're going to do. We'll change the flow control valve. If we still have the issue, we'll change the temp control valve. Okay, that's the flow control valve removed. See, it's this butterfly valve driven by a motor. And we're gonna go ahead and install the one from this plane in 816, and then we'll run it. Okay, we've got that reinstalled. We'll go ahead and take the plane outside, run it. Okay. I'm going to leave the floor opened up while I run it. That way I can see if there's any leaks coming from that valve while it's running. Right now I'm cycling the temperature between hot and cold, and I'm turning the bleed airs on and off. And it's got the same thing. It blows a little stronger when it's on hot, but it's still less than what's normal. I'm not sure I've fully explained this. I'm going to do my best job to explain it. It's kind of a complicated system. Basically, the air cycle machine takes warm bleed air off the engine and sends it through a series of valves and sensors, and that air is used for pressurization and temperature control inside the cabin and the cockpit. Now, we do a test of the environmental control system, basically run the engine and turn it on and off and adjust the temperature and make sure everything's functioning correctly. And during that test, when we select the ACS bleed air from auto, which is normally blowing air into the cabin, to inhibit, there should be a drop in ITT, which is the inner turbine temperature. Usually it's 50 to 80 Celsius ITT drop with the ACS selected to inhibit. The test tells us no more than 90 degrees Celsius drop. So 50 to 80 is normal, no more than 90. When I've been doing this test, I'm only getting a drop of about 5 degrees Celsius ITT. And what that tells me is that there's a valve. That symptom, in combination with the fact that the bleed air coming from the vents is very weak, tells me that there's a valve, more than likely a valve somewhere that's sticking and is not allowing bleed air to come in from the engine. So that can cause a number of issues, obviously, with pressurization and temperature control. And so what I've just changed is the flow control valve based on Honeywell's recommendation, and that did not fix the issue. So what we're looking at now is most likely a temp sensor or a temp control valve. Last night, night shift changed the duct temp sensor, and that didn't fix the issue. So we're at the point now, we're lucky enough we've got all these aircraft around that we can take spare parts from one to another. The temp control valve is a little bit more difficult to access, and it's more likely to be the issue. But we went with a couple of other easy to access things first in our troubleshooting. I'm going to talk with our director of maintenance again, and probably what I'll do is order a temp control valve for this aircraft, and then we'll swap that out. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot that plays into the system, and I'd love to get into it in more detail, but I don't want to bore you guys with it, so we'll leave it at that. This turned out to be another late Saturday. We're supposed to have gale force winds tonight, so I'm gonna see if I can fit 4 planes in this hangar. Should be able to. Out to Catalina.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know where actually.